Just have some fucking. I just have some dude edit it after.
Oh my god! All right, well, I think the first thing we do need to talk about though is Colby Covington calling Mayor Deblasio that Jew mayor.
That Jew mayor and that getting absolutely zero response whatsoever.
Dude.
I Googled last night, Colby calls mayor a Jew. Not a single.
No one's talking about it. I thought Helwani would have at least picked it up. But no, it's funny when you watch it too, because you see Dana White, he clocks it. Dana White clocks it, but he just kind of waits for someone else to take it up. And when they don't, he's like, all right, I'm gonna let it ride too then. That's just the way we're gonna do this.
Dana's praying to God that nobody hears it. He doesn't want any controversy last minute around the fight.
Yeah, he doesn't need that. He doesn't need Colby Covington's an anti-Semite.
No, he doesn't. But you know what? Tonight is a great card, amazing card, following up on another great card from last week. So I'm ready to lose some money on parlays.
Yeah. So wait, what parlays are you picking?
So I got to go, if we're talking main card only, and I'm going down the line, which I probably will make this bet.
You're taking Rose?
I'm taking Kamaru, Rose, Marlon Vera against Frankie, taking Shane against Billy Corntillo.
Okay.
Taking Justin Gaethje. I was 50-50 on that one, but your maniacal support of him has convinced me to put the money on him.
Justin Gaethje is going to bring him through the fire. Also, I weirdly think Justin's going to be counterpunching a lot this fight. Like, I think it's going to be – he's got this thing about him where everyone thinks Justin Gaethje is going to come forward at you charging like a bull. But his last couple fights, he's shown that he's actually restraining that. It's like he puts on the image like, yeah, I'm this guy who's going to come right at you. I mean, Chandler even said it. He made that prop bet for us, right? He's like, I'm not taking the first step backwards. Mm-hmm. And it's like Justin didn't say he's going to also do that. Like, he can work his jab. I can see him working that left hook all day, you know?
Yeah. And, you know, I also think that we're going to see a much more refined version of Justin Gaethje. He got a question at the press conference that was about, you know, we haven't seen you in a layoff in such a long time for this long. You're usually fighting twice a year. Like, what happened? And it was kind of framed like a negative question almost. And, you know, I think that this time away probably has been beneficial to him because he went up against Khabib. Really, that was his last fight, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Khabib's the last time he fought. I get why he didn't want to fight again. It's like, look, I lost to the champ, but the champ's no longer the same champ. So
right.
What are we talking about here?
He got dominated badly. He went away for a while, probably sharpened his skill, sharpened his artillery, added some new tools, calmed down a little bit, you know, and boom, now he's back. He could make a real title run. If he beats Chandler, he's probably next in line based on the presser.
That's the only thing that makes sense, right? He's got to be the number one contender. I think they fight next. I know Islam's talking like he's like, I deserve the next title fight, or like I should get to fight Gaethje Chandler. And it's like, I mean, good for you, man. Talk your shit. But it's no. I think this fight is the number one contender fight. It really,
you know,
the only thing that holds that up is if this fight is so fucking close that they just have to run it back.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. You're making a great point, but I'm gonna say that Chandler just fucking lost to Oliveira. He just lost to Oliveira. So Gaethje,
so if Oliveira wins, so if Chandler wins, is it really a contender fight?
Really, what it should be is see, the thing is, it's such a tricky division because then what do you do with Dustin? Because I was gonna say you could have Justin fight for the belt, have Chandler fight Makhachev. If he gets past him, then winners fight winners. But then you got Dustin, who's been on an absolute tear for years.
Yeah, no, Dustin's got to get in there.
It's a competitive division.
Now, what if Dustin fought Islam?
Dude, I think Islam does the same thing to Dustin
that he's been doing to everybody else.
That he's been doing to everybody else. I think he does the same thing that Khabib did to him in a way. Sort of drags him down, you know, beats him up, and
Dustin's. That's a hard thing, though, man. That's a hard thing. Wait, who is Dustin fighting next? What do they have on the lineup for him right now?
Dustin's fighting Oliveira for the belt next.
Fighting Oliveira for the belt. So, well, there you go. So if he wins, I mean, we're good to go on what he's doing. He's champ now. He's fighting Gaethje. He's fighting whoever they bring at him.
Fighting whoever the guy is, you know. So,
but I think you're right. Put Oliveira. I mean, that's the thing. Like, if Chandler loses and Gaethje, you go Gaethje Dustin, and then Islam's got to stay in the wings then still though, because you got to go Chandler Oliveira again almost. Or do you do Oliveira? Or do you do Oliveira Islam? Do you Chandler Islam, and then one of those guys has to fight?
There we go. I just can't back. And don't get me wrong, I love Chandler. He's such a stand-up guy, all around great person, clearly elite level athlete and everything. But you just came to the UFC. You had one very big win, knockout against Dan Hooker. Mm-hmm. Instant title shot, you lose it. Now, if he loses again, I don't want to hear about him in the next title picture. I know Dana White loves him. He's got that Dana White privilege, but you know, I think that it's not right. There's look at Islam's record, bro. Look at this. He's got Dan Hooker, Thiago Moises, Drew Dober, Davi Ramos, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wins in a row. His last loss and only loss was at UFC 192. That's feels like ages ago.
Yeah, that's forever and time ago.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You got to let Oliveira kind of just stay right there in the ready for it. But because you don't want to put the champ on ice for too long either. That's the thing, right? So Dustin fights. So let's say Dustin wins. This is all like, let's say Dustin wins. Dustin wins. Dustin and Gaethje are fighting. Then we got Oliveira. He's knocked back down. So I guess do you go right to Islam and Oliveira for number one contender? Or do you have Oliveira, or do you keep Oliveira on ice for a little bit longer? Then you go Islam versus Chandler. Then one of those guys fights Oliveira for the number one contender.
And you really can't go wrong, though, right? The only fight that you can make that people don't want to see is Chimaev Diaz.
That's the only fight nobody wants to see. Dude, Dana got on some presser the other day, and he was still talking like he's serious about it. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Now he wants it even more. He wants it even more. That he's hearing all this negative feedback. He's like, no, fuck that.
He's like, oh, what? We don't put on hard fights in the UFC? It's like, shut the fuck up, Dana. Yeah, we put on hard fights in the UFC. Tony Ferguson's a very hard fight for Nate Diaz. That's not an easy fight, right? You're also like, we want to give these other guys who've been like banging out there in the 155 division, we want to give them proper send-offs too. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Give Cowboy a second shot with Diaz. Let Diaz have a second shot to highlight real Cowboy, right? Let those two settle that guy on this last fight. Go Ferguson. I mean, Conor, I think the whole Conor thing, I don't think Diaz is going to fight Conor again until Conor's ready to retire. I think that's Conor's like swan. I think Conor's saving that for his swan song. That's what I would do if I was Conor. I'd be like, look, I'm going to fight all these other people. And once I'm ready to like hang up the crown, it's me and Diaz 3 for that final payout.
That final goodbye.
You know?
Yeah. I'd love to see it. I don't care if they were both in their 40s. They got out there one more time. I'd love to.
That's the thing. I see it as like a down the line. Like we're not going to see that till they're almost too old to be fighting. You know what I mean? But but they can fight each other. You know, that's fine. They can fight each other. Like as long as they're hitting each other, I don't mind. But yeah, do you know we don't want to split the fans on Chimaev though. Like you want Chimaev to have everyone love him right now. He's got this momentum.
You want him to come up against guys that are either unlikable or at the very least, you're like whatever about them. They're neutral.
Well, here's the thing too, right? We're talking about Dana White being insane with this, like, let's throw Diaz to the wolves with Chimaev here. But I really do think Dana White is playing like more of a chess game with this. Like, I think he's already been talking about Luque and Diaz. Like Diaz has been talking about he wants to fight Luque. Luque is kind of up there in the contender conversation as well. Then we got Chimaev. He's kind of like rising to about Luque's level. So now all of a sudden, hey, when you Google Nate Diaz, 2 names are coming up, Luque and Chimaev. Mm-hmm. So once we have Diaz popped out and bring him somewhere else, all of a sudden Chimaev and Luque make more sense. I mean, if we're talking about a contender fight, Nate Diaz is a big fight. He's a legend. He's going to make you a lot of money. It's a payday fight. Like he is a payday fighter. But he's not a contender fighter. That's not really – you beating Diaz right now does not make me think that you deserve a spot over Leon Edwards or Jorge Masvidal, who's already kind of lost his shot unless Colby makes an upset tonight. Like,
if Colby makes an upset, he could get back into the picture. And you know what else is like with Chimaev? I guess I could somehow tolerate him fighting Diaz somehow if it went exactly like this. It'd have to be like – he's super respectful at the presser. You know what I mean?
This guy's a legend. I want to be the baddest motherfucker.
Exactly. You know, so I got to fight him, whatever. Goes out there, takes him down, chokes him out, doesn't give him a whole lot of damage, right? Blood everywhere. That's classic Diaz scene, blood leaking.
Don't bleed him. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on that. Maybe bang him up once or twice on the feet, but really go for that takedown, like he did in his last fight. Like if he fights Diaz the way he just fought his last fight, I think that's even more impressive to me, honestly. Too.
It is.
Like because Nate Diaz is an amazing jiu-jitsu practitioner. Guys don't go to the ground with the Diaz brothers for a reason. Like we know them as these like street fighting boxers, like that's the persona. But in reality, the nuts and bolts they're bringing to the table is like next level sweeps, next level submissions. Yeah. Like and a ground grappling pace that really tires you out. That's where they're setting paces, and that's where they're making guys really have to breathe heavy, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And also, you know what? On that note, too, though, that's the thing that's cool about a Nate Diaz fight. Luque, it's almost like Luque and Chimaev fight. Unless we put them on a fight night card, they're going to 3 rounds. If you have Nate Diaz fight Chimaev, let's make that a 5-round fight. That could be a 5-round fight.
I just
nothing wrong with that being a co-main event somewhere.
Nothing wrong. No, nothing wrong with that. I just don't want to see that fight, man. There's nothing appealing to it about me. There's nothing like I don't feel it does a lot for Chimaev.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. Like
he's better off just highlight reeling on no names.
Exactly.
I know Neil Magny's been throwing his name in the ring. That's a good one.
Great one. If he beats Neil Magny, then you're talking about beating gatekeeper level competition. You're still elite level fighters. If you can beat a Neil Magny, then maybe you haven't beaten the very cream of the crop, but you've beaten an elite level guy who's been there for 10, 15 years.
I feel like if I had to compare Chimaev's career to like John Jones, it'd be like Magny to me is like when Jones fought the Carpenter.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, is that guy's name? No, the big Polish guy. I think it's Polish. Vlad. Wasn't it Vlad or something? The plumber? He has some blue collar fucking nickname. Anyway, my point proven. I don't really know Neil Magny that well either, right? So point fucking proven here. But like, it's like that level guy. We're like, oh yeah, this guy seems like he's been around. I know I've seen him around.
All right, you see the guy, you're like, I don't know where I know this motherfucker. Like, Gleison Tebow, right? You know that guy. He's one of the toughest. That guy is one of the toughest guys probably to ever step in the UFC octagon. But he's just always facing the top level competition from like day one. I got to pull up this guy's shirt.
That was like probably the best dig that Kamaru's consistently had with Colby is that idea of like, look, he's a great fighter, but he's just going to have to realize like he came up in a generation where there was a guy better than him.
I mean, he's got a great point. You know, sometimes
for Neil, it's like there's a lot of guys better than him. That's
like, think about it, over the last 10 years, how many guys could have been champs, but not for John Jones?
I mean, light heavyweight went right back to a toss-up. That was like what made John Jones rise so crazy was because the belt was such a toss-up at that time. Mm-hmm. I mean, and now it's kind of going back to that. It's like 155 was super exciting because of that, but now with Glover upsetting Jan, it's like, yeah, this could really open back up. I don't think we have a new light heavyweight champ yet.
Dude, Gleison Tebow, okay, been fighting in the UFC since, June 12th, 2007. Since then, he's fought the who's who guys that like are literally old school names: Tyson Griffin, Joe Stevenson, Jeremy Stevens, Melvin Gillard, Kyle Uno, bro. Do you even know who Kyle Uno?
No, tell me about Kyle Uno.
Kyle Uno was like
break down Kyle Uno.
5-pounder. I'm not sure where he was from exactly. He was Asian. I can tell you that right now. And he was a badass motherfucker. He was so zen and chill, cardio like a motherfucker, great jiu-jitsu. He fought Jim Miller, Rafael Dos Anjos, Habib, Evan Dunham, Francisco Trinaldo. I mean, this guy fought everybody. But you look at his record, it's spotty. It's 50-50. Fought Rory McDonald and Islam Makhachev, Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, guys make names on him.
Guys that made a bunch of names on him, yeah. It's a tough position to be in, but still, I mean, it's like a 15-year career, pretty damn good. You might not make it at some companies that long.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. Dude, it's wild that we didn't see Colby fight more in this since he's last fought Usman.
I know.
I feel like, I don't know. It's like, why don't you do stuff like, I don't know. I'm about that. Like, just fight guys who don't make sense. Give guys a chance to take your spot who you can just scrub and then like make your highlight reel. You know what I mean? You would have, if Colby had another fight, he probably could have got the rematch before Burns.
Probably.
You know what I mean? Like,
and what's up with Burns now? He's kind of just like floating around.
That's why I'm saying Burns and Chimaev, dude. That makes the most sense to me. If you want to really test Chimaev, give him Burns.
So you want Burns to go back down to 155 for that fight?
For Chimaev?
I'm sorry. I thought you meant Makhachev. Oh yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, no. Chimaev. No, Chimaev.
Dude, that's a top level fight. If he
That's
beats
the fight
Burns,
to make for Chimaev. Give him
that's a great
fucking
fight.
Gilbert Burns. Let's watch these guys go. Let's watch them grapple. Let's watch them. That'd be if we're talking about making daunting fights, Dana. That's a daunting fight.
That's a great fight, bro. That's a great fight. I'd love to see a fight like that, because Gilbert Burns is no joke. You can't just take him down and submit him in 30 seconds. And if he does, then it's like, whoa, everybody's on notice. You got a new guy, bro. A real new, like, demolisher.
Yeah, this guy is like, he's hitting you with the heavy hands and he's got the submissions. It's like,
dude, he's knocking people out at middleweight.
So wait, I got a question because he's one of these Dagestani guys. Are they like jujitsu? Do they have jujitsu belts, or is this like, are they just on a whole other kind of kick with their submission grappling training?
Oh, he's not Dagestani. He's Chechnyan.
He's Chechnyan. Okay.
He's Chechnyan, but
is he with Khabib's camp though, or no? I know Islam is, right?
I don't think so. No, he trains with Islam. Islam is for sure. Islam and Khabib are like, I'm pretty sure those guys are like cousins or something.
Yeah, it feels like Islam like didn't even really make waves until Khabib left. It was like now it's your turn. Like
that was like
the car.
The dad's grand plan was like Khabib come in, champ 30-0, retire, and then Islam come in, become champ, run it for a little while, retire as well. And they're kind of doing that now, since Khabib's dad passed away. But Chimaev also he's a little bit different. You can tell that he's got a little bit. He's a lot more flamboyant than Khabib and these guys.
Mm-hmm.
He loves the talking. He enjoys it.
Also, I mean, just that relentlessness. I mean, like the beginning of the pandemic, like talk about making a name for yourself in the middle of like a nightmare, right? We come back, first live sports is this guy's on the cards and he's going like 3 cards like in a row. It was like every 2 weeks this guy was fighting for a second.
Yeah, he fought, dude, he's fought 4 times and he's been hit twice.
And I also kind of like, I think it was like because of COVID, he was able to do that because they were like, man, it's such a nightmare getting people in and out of here. If you want to just stay here and fight on the next card, like, yeah, you didn't get any damage in that last fight. Oh, you didn't get any. That was the craziest stat I heard about Chimaev. He's only been hit twice in his entire UFC career. Twice. 2 times have people landed on him.
2 times.
Talk about that from when we start to think about like the longevity of a guy. Like he hasn't been touched.
Hasn't been touched.
I don't know. That's why, like, when you counter that like a jury, like when jury's coming up, it's like that guy's getting banged a lot. Like, you can get through there and not get touched. I don't know, man. That's a scary sight.
That's the beauty of having that high level grappling, bro. But to your earlier point, those Dagestanis, I think they practice some form of sambo or something.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? It's like sambo. It's definitely wrestling with a submission element to it, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
But it appears to be sambo based because like Fedor, and I know sambo's big in Russia.
And they were and the thing about sambo is sambo has a lot of jiu-jitsu moves, kind of like a lot of arm bars, kimuras, chokes. It's like I think they just got to the same ideas a different direction, and maybe they got them from Japan too. It was like the judo, it went both ways, and then it turned into sambo over here, turned into Brazilian jiu-jitsu this direction.
It's very like judoka, like kind of similar to it, the same way that jiu-jitsu is. And nowadays, really, all those arts are nowhere near as distinct. If you're you go to a judo gym, you guys are learning some serious submissions. You know what I mean? If you go to like my gym, Olympus Jiu-Jitsu, it's
takedowns.
It's grappling arts. We do a shitload of hip tosses, throws, single legs, double legs, or wrestling because all fights start standing. So if you want to get on the ground and you're on concrete and there's a 300-pound guy, you might not necessarily want to pull guard every time. Even if it's fun on the mat when you're rolling around with your buddies, sometimes you got to practice that thing that like, okay, I'm going to save my life here in a 30. And now all those gyms are kind of starting to put that together is what I'm seeing from my experience.
It makes sense because everyone just wants to do that. They're like, I want to, it's all the same thing. It's like, look, I want to grapple. I want to get away here without striking, Grappling's that ancient art form too. It's like, I don't know, it just makes more sense to me. It's a weird thing to explain to people because with Kung Fu movies, action movies, it seems like Western culture, and I mean, even Hong Kong culture, right? We've like been dominated with like striking and watching striking because it's visually closer to dance. It's more fun to watch.
Right.
But grappling is just like the older art form. Like the idea of pinning a guy down, holding someone down, that's just more native to us. Cause like I don't know, humans don't want to smash each other's faces in. We just want to like assert dominance. And grappling is sort of that. It's like, look, I can control you, I can hold you, I can maybe put you in a situation that could kill you, but I'm not. But like actually damaging you and injuring you, like in like the tribe mentality or whatever. It's like then you can't work as well like the next day. I need to just show you that I have the strength, and then we respect that, and then you're still able. Like
can't you put yourself back in your place and swing back around to challenge again in however many moons. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But striking is a lot more fun to watch, no question. But in my opinion, grappling is a lot more fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
When you're grappling. Like there's this event coming up from Tap Out Cancer, which is a great organization, and they organize like tournaments and events all over, and they donate the proceeds to like cancer research. So it seems like it's in the right place. And what they're doing December 11th is it's like a 1 hour rollathon. So you get a buddy and you guys roll for 1 hour straight. And, if usually you'll get someone to sponsor you, and a couple people donate, and whatever your proceeds are, they go to cancer research, cancer therapies and stuff like that.
It's like a marathon, but with choking.
It's cool. Anybody can do that. Now, how about a marathon of an hour Muay Thai marathon? Dude, you break both legs, you'd be bleeding out the eyes, you wouldn't be able to make it to work.
It wouldn't go that long. It could never go that long. Well, that was the thing with like early UFCs. They were like, anybody who was striking, it's like those things ended in like 2 minutes. But then you get Royce Gracie and like out there, and it's like, okay, now we're on the ground for a half hour, 40 minutes. It's like, I'll eventually choke you when I finally catch it, but I don't mind just sitting here being patient.
And that's why I love it too, because we all have, first of all, we're all weaker than someone. And then second of all, we all have people in our immediate circle who are vulnerable or weak. Like I've got 2 sisters in college, my son's mother. You want those people to be able to know how to defend themselves. And quite honestly, if I teach Western boxing to my sisters, as opposed to a couple stripes on a white belt of jiu-jitsu, I think they'll be much more ready to at least defend themselves enough to get away with that jiu-jitsu. Well,
exactly.
What's a 100-pound girl boxing you up going to do? It's going to be pretty.
No, if anything, it's like learn how to throw a jab straight just so you can maybe get their back.
That's it.
Throw a jab straight just so you can close distance and then get in there. But also even then, it's like, fuck jab straights. We're throwing kicks to the groin and we're going for eye gouging until we can like get some grappling position.
Bro, pull guard. Guy attacks a girl, he's going to most likely try to go on top of her. Pull guard, keep him close, and thumb right into the cusp of his eyeball right here, Trev. As deep as it can go. And honestly, I'm pretty sure that would be enough at least to help you increase your chances of getting away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but after that, just securing that arm bar.
If you don't know how to pull guard, one of the most basic things, you don't know how to trap somebody in your guard, you are in a world of trouble because your legs help you so much. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely cool, man. I love grappling. I know you have a long history with that too, through your cousin and stuff. So it's cool.
Yeah, no, man, I've been grappling for years. It's such a good time. I haven't done it too often since the pandemic. The pandemic kind of stopped my my wrestling. I was finally just getting back into an MMA gym, and I'm like, man, it's hard to want to like be this close to someone's groin with an illness, honestly, but with an illness passing more so,
You did get some pretty good rolls while you were up here, though.
Yeah, me and you got some good rolls, and that made me like, I was like, oh man, I got to do this again because it feels really good.
It does.
For everyone who's listening to this, me and Dino have been friends since high school, so we used to do a lot of like sparring and wrestling stuff in a very informal. I like to call it. We had like the Rich Franklin school of MMA when we were younger. It was very like we watched some YouTube videos and we've practiced them on each other.
Exactly.
And
we got big love.
But Dino's actually he's kept with it for a while now, and I know you're doing jiu-jitsu. What are you now, a blue belt or?
Yeah, I'm a blue belt. I'm working towards purple. I'm hoping if everything goes right, sometime early next year we'll be into purple.
Nice.
And gonna get some in-house tournaments going. Try to put to the test what I've been learning and have some fun with it, and that's it.
Well, hell yeah, man.
Yeah,
Well, he's been keeping up with it. I have not, and I got to definitely get back into it. Got to find some ways to get back into fitness for sure. What?
We've both been keeping up with watching it pretty good.
Oh, I've been watching a lot. I play a lot of the game too. I play a lot of the UFC video game, but I honestly think that helps. Izzy Adesanya says it helps him, and I'm like, you know what? I think it helps me with my fight IQ too.
Listen, if it can help Izzy, who are we?
Exactly.
What are we to say no to?
I hope man, who does he? I feel like he's got to go fight Jan again. I feel like that has to happen.
I mean, no, why not?
I don't think he needs to go fight for the belt. I don't think he should stay the fuck away from Glover. I don't think that's a good look for Izzy Adesanya at all. But, like, go fight Jan again after you piece up a couple more guys in middleweight. Like, let him get another chance at that so he can maybe get himself back in that picture. But more so just, like, secure that W. You know what I mean? You want to right that wrong.
Yeah. I think Glover's got a good – I think Glover, if Izzy came up and challenged again and they let him, which would be stupid, but I think Glover got a really good shot at that one.
Oh, if Glover and Izzy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Glover takes Izzy down. I also think Glover beats Jan again.
Oh yeah. That was a dominant win.
But does Jury beat Glover? Maybe. Dude, I don't know.
I think Jiri, maybe I'm too hyped up on him or something. I watched too many videos of this dude like punching the bark off of trees. But he is so powerful, bro. He's the next. I feel like he's like the next level of human evolution at 205. You know, you remember a certain time when like John Jones just came on the scene and his body was different than everybody else. Like, it's not like he was more jacked or it's just he was a different athletic freak. And like now that's kind of what I'm seeing in Jiri and Alexander Rakic. And I'm like, now this is the next generation of freaks at fucking 205, you know?
Well, Raja, I mean, so yeah, he's definitely physically on that level for sure. He does not excite me as much as early John did. Because just for the very fact though of like, I feel like their striking is sort of on the same level, which isn't really a compliment when you think about it. When you think about where John was at with his striking at that time, but John had this amazing wrestling, and Yuri has not shown me that yet.
No, yeah.
I don't even really know how many times he's been tested on the takedown defense yet.
I really don't know, but he's been. Let's check his.
Because he's been in some the fights I've seen him in. He's been in some like wars, and he's been banging, and he's got some really great strikes. He's got the good spinning elbows. He's down to bring the fight to people, and he's got a fucking stone iron chin, right? But
okay, let's see.
Okay.
This guy lost in 2015 by a KO punch to Muhammad Law. So okay, I mean, he's probably not the next John Jones, but he's definitely up.
He's up there. Well, then here's the other thing stylistically. I think fucking Izzy has a great chance against him.
I don't think so.
I think that's Izzy's easiest fight in that division.
Okay, check this out.
Not in that division, but in that level of division.
I took too much away from him for that Muhammad Law loss, okay? He had like 15 straight wins before that, lost on a punch, came back, redeemed it with TKO wins, and went on another like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 fight hair, bro. Hair of just KO, 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 TKO, 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 KO, 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 KO. I mean, that's John Jones isn't doing that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at that time he was, though, with that old generation of Dan Hendersons and Shogun. You will never see another Dan Henderson size fella be dominant at 205 or like Vanderlei Silva or anything like that. That
time's over.
Over. Those guys are 85ers. Dan Henderson might in today's day and age might even
probably 170.
Might even fight 170. Yep.
Man, I miss Dan Henderson, dude.
Oh, me too, man.
Iron Hand. It sucks too, man. Talk about guys who've actually had like, you know, I remember when there was time's still going to keep telling on it, but I remember there was sort of this sort of myth when MMA was first like getting traction. We're like, you know, it's actually not as bad for your brain as boxing because you don't get hit as often. And there's some truth to that. But then you see a guy like Dan Henderson these days and you're like, I don't know, man. I don't think we can like ignore the CDT in this fucking sport either, you know?
No way. Are you serious? I haven't seen anything from him.
Yeah, that's why you haven't. I mean, I don't know. I could be speaking out of school. I'm sure someone might roast me for this. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but he's got a slur to him. It seems like he's not piecing words together as well as he could. And
Yeah.
also, I mean, he was such a personality. Why would he not be a personality right now? You know what I mean? Like he deserves to be, but I think and I hope that happens for him. I hope he finds himself some like guy, the way Teddy Atlas has his podcast. I hope he's got some. I forget the guy who does Teddy Atlas' podcast with him, but he's like an unsung hero because that guy's the one who knows what the fuck all the Zoom, what any of the podcast shit is. Like he's the one handling any technical aspect of that for Teddy. And
of course, not Teddy in there.
And also even just like straight up helping inside too is with the rapport of like keeping him on track, getting him to the next fights, those kind of things, right? Like showing him the right stuff, all that. So I think Dan could have something like that in his career later. And I'd like to see that.
But is he? I don't even know if he's a talker like that ever. If he ever was a talker.
He's not like a Chael Sonnen talker, you know what I mean? But
nobody's a Chael Sonnen talker.
No one talks shit better than Chael Sonnen.
Chael Sonnen just does it in like a fucking. He's like the who's that child author? Dr. Seuss. He's like the Dr. Seuss of shit talking. Like it's funny, it's cringy. I like it.
One of the things I respect about him as a commentator, like there's plenty of. I gotta make it clear. There's been plenty of times during Chael Sonnen's career that I have had no respect for him. But what I have respect for him as a commentator and stuff is when he's on his like YouTube channel and he's just straight talking, no cuts, no edits. It's just like him in this chair ranting, and he stays engaging. And it's a hard thing to do. It's a much harder thing to do than people think. Like you might look at it like, oh, it's simple. He's not doing all the fun editing stuff that like Izzy Adesanya does for his podcast or his YouTube series and all that stuff. Well, he doesn't have a podcast. He's got a YouTube series.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty good. Oh, yeah, check out Izzy's. Yeah.
I gotta check it out. Yeah.
It's very like
as a character, as a fighter. I think he's just a cool ass dude, man.
Oh yeah, Israel Adesanya is very fucking cool.
He's fucking.
I want to. That's also why I want to see him fight Jan again. I just want to see him right that wrong. I want to see him get 2 belts. I want to see him make fun of John Jones.
What about him and Kamaru? They said they'll do it for $100 million.
Did they say it for $100 million?
Yeah.
I mean,
could UFC make that?
No, they can't. I mean, can they make $100 million on that fight? I don't know if they can.
I mean, let's say if they paid both these guys like $40 million, and
they're not big enough. They're not big enough names.
No, they're not big enough.
I'll tell you what. If fucking Izzy got it done and secured that fucking Jan belt, they'd be big enough.
Shit, man. You know what? If you pay both these guys $40 million, they're gonna go out there and have a glorified sparring session.
No, I think they'd give it to each other for $40 million. Because the thing that here's what you'd have to do: you'd have to give him $40 million, but then you put another $20 million on the winner. You know what I mean? Like one of you's gonna get an extra 20. So like,
yeah,
give
us a couple million.
Yeah, and then give us a couple million for brokering this deal for you.
Yeah.
Clearly, this is the management on it. Dude, I don't think they're ever making I don't see Kamaru Usman ever making $40 million for a fight, and I don't. It makes me sad. He probably deserves it, but I don't think he ever will.
Dude, Kamaru Usman is not one of those guys, man. He's not one of those. He's a great champion. He might be one of the greatest champions ever, actually. But he's not one of those guys.
When if he beats Colby tonight, right? Like, what else does he have to do to have a better career than GSP?
I don't know. Let's take a look. Let's take exactly.
Also, I barely count GSP's champ status because like coming in out of nowhere just to fucking whoop Michael Bisping's ass does not constitute to me like
what
his glorious champ run. I don't think Kamaru needs a 185 belt to be considered better than GSP is what I'm really trying to say.
I don't think it's an amazing champ run, but I do think that it's
still impressive. I'm not saying it's not impressive at all. Michael Bisping's a great fighter, but it's not like going up to like fight like Francis. You know what I mean? It's not that. It wasn't that level of like a takedown. He wasn't taking out Jones. No.
Okay, let's see this shirt, dog. Kamaru Usman, the Nigerian Nightmare. Dude's definitely a nightmare, bro. He's a beast. All right, he's beat George Masvidal, Gilbert Burns, George again, Colby, Tyron Woodley, Dos Anjos, Damian Maia, Emil Meek. That dude was tough, no joke. Sean Strickland, he beat Sean Strickland's ass.
Mm-hmm.
Leon Edwards,
Yep.
All right, that's great. That's a nice run. All right, let's see. Mike Bisping, Johnny Hendricks, Nick Diaz, Carlos Condit, Jake Shields, Josh Koscheck, Dan Hardy, Thiago Alves, BJ Penn, John Fitch, Matt Serra, Matt Hughes. No question.
Also lost to both of those two.
Who?
Matt Hughes and Matt Serra.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Let's remember that he lost to those guys. I'm not saying that necessarily tarnishes his legacy. Like, he definitely got decisive wins back over them, and he did so in a way that it felt like we don't need to do a third one of these. Like, you'd win the third one of these.
Kamaru Usman's only losses in 2013 via rear naked choke. He never got it back from the guy. I don't know, man. You know, it's tough because it's of their time. I don't know if Kamaru will ever be greater than GSP, or if GSP, if he reaches, if Kamaru reaches that level, then GSP is not greater than Kamaru either. It's just they're the next thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. They're the next thing. It's like the fucking horse was the best thing till the steam engine. Then the steam engine was, it's like what's better, the steam engine or the horse? Well, obviously fucking the steam engine now, but you know what I mean? But for about a good tens of thousands of years there, we got nothing but horses.
We were doing fine. We were doing fine with our horses.
Fine,
so, okay.
The horse of the welterweight.
And that's the thing. And like, I also think George St. Pierre has a little bit, it's not quite to this level. He's no Michael Jordan as an athlete, but he sort of has a little bit of that for like a first wave of MMA. Like, there was a wave of UFC that came where it was like, with George as like the head of the welterweight championship, it was like there was some precedent coming. I mean, yeah. Conor had a bigger wave than he did. We can't really say like he was it, No. Conor's wave was like the real mainstream wave. Like, Conor brings us into the ESPN zone. Now all of a sudden, but then also it's like, is that just the timing too? Because it's like all of a sudden Conor comes in right when guys our age are now like that young, perfect sports demographic, and it's like we grew up watching this shit.
It's timing. It's timing, but also it's like it couldn't have been. It had to be all the factors there. It couldn't have been anybody but Conor. Yeah. And I'm not a Conor fanboy by any means.
He lost me during the first during his Khabib fight.
I rooted against him with Khabib. His shit talking went from being like Muhammad Ali, like charismatic, to just like the gross, vile, disgusting attack.
But that was the thing, man. All the Islamophobia that he had during that time, that's what really like took me out. I mean, I know you're a Muslim too, so I know that had to probably be like extra hard, extra stings. I knew that for you, like extra bonus points there. The same reason why I'm still like jumping down Colby's throat for calling Mayor Deblasio that Jew mayor. Like, no one's calling that out, dude. But
is anybody gonna say anything about his Dana waiting to say something until after?
I don't know. Yeah, it's like after the fight, it's like, and you're a Nazi and you're fucking out of the UFC.
You better win, because if you don't, you're fucked on that Jew comment.
Dude, yeah, you're getting fucked on that Jew comment if you don't
win,
dude.
Yeah.
The same way Conor got fucked on his fucking Islamophobia comments after he fucking lost to Khabib.
Yeah,
no, but you know what? But on that note, both guys are doing another thing in the shit talking that I am okay with, which is making fun of these guys' fathers. I think that's open game. I think the idea of like, you want to call Khabib daddy's boy before his fight, get in his head. I mean, now it'd be kind of in poor taste because his father's passed away, but like, but before that, it's fine. Colby making fun of Kamaru for his father being in jail right now, low blowy, but that's the kind of low blow I'm fine with. Like, I'm fine with that. Just, don't bring people's religion into it. Don't make it about race. It just makes you look, it's not because it's like not going to get in their head, or it just makes you look low. You just lost the people. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. I'm not surprised that, Conor got pushback from the fans, but it's not, he didn't get any like formal pushback for the Islamic comments, Islamophobia comments, whatever.
No, he got pushback for throwing the thing through the fucking window, which honestly, again, I'm like, you know what? I let that slide more than the Islamophobia.
Fuck Rose. Let her fucking
take a fucking cut to like she was afraid to get sliced in the face. She's going in there with Muay Thai experts, all right? They're fine.
She hates Conor because of that.
I mean, I get why. I'm totally downplaying the situation. It was probably really bad for them, but no, I don't know. I always thought Dana was a little bit of a hypocrite with that though, because it was like, this is terrible. Put it in the promo.
Yeah,
we do not condone this, and then it's like,
start the promo, close it out with this.
It's like, come on, don't tell me you and Vince McMahon didn't have a very entertaining phone call after that went down. And it was call Conor, like, yo, just let us know when you're gonna do that. We'll put Sugar Glass on the bus, man. We didn't need a. You know, we didn't need to have anybody in that bus. We could have just had you do that, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, man. Connor definitely came, changed the scene, did all that. You know, he earned it. He blessed himself and he received blessings. And he just kind of like, I don't know. There's two ways you could go with it. He's the heel, you know.
Or does he have his next chapter when he comes back resurrected, right? Because I feel like, you know, for me, it's like his peak is definitely the Jose Aldo fight. I mean, I guess Dos Anjos is probably a peak too. But nah, honestly, it's that fucking Jose Aldo fight. It's that when he knocks that guy out, he gets on the fucking mic and he's like, precision beats power and timing beats speed. And it's just like, yeah, dude, this is Mikey the Pikey fucking from Snatch in real life. Like, you're giving us these vibes that we all love. I want to see you in a Guy Ritchie movie. I want to see you on late night shows. You're amazing. And now cut to him on the floor after he breaks his ankle on Dustin's fucking calf. And he's just like on the ground, writhing in pain, going, your wife's in my DMs.
Yeah.
Like you look pitiful, man. Because like
resurrection in the public eye is gonna come at some point after he's done with MMA. Right now, he's not. Unfortunately, goodwill in MMA is linked with your victories too. So like, if he was winning, people would be forgiving him for a lot of this shit. But the fact that he's losing, they're not.
Also going right back to back with Dustin and just losing twice. It's like if he had other wins in between those, none of us would be like, you can't not run that back. That fight doesn't count. But the fact that he had just recently got knocked out by Dustin and then that happens to him, it's just like, yeah, dude, you're done. That was like the Weidman thing. Dude, what is going on with these guys' calves all of a sudden? Did something get weaker? Something get stronger?
I don't know, man. Common injury.
I thought it was weirdly poetic when it happened to Weidman.
Yeah, no.
When his I was like, I can't believe, like, you know,
that was Shakespeare.
You got famous off of doing that to Anderson Silva, and now you've had it done to you. And there's got to feel something karma in there for him that way. I feel where he's like, yeah, I kind of, you know,
his career was never the same after that, you know,
because it's not the way you want to beat somebody. Like it's a brutal way to beat somebody, but it's not the way you want to.
No. You want to go out with something that you did, you know, but still checking a kick. I mean, it's something he did, you know. It's tough, man. These guys are gladiators and fucking getting after it in there, and you know, it's not easy.
Oh man. Well, hey, let's wrap it up. Let's talk real quick. Who are your picks for the fight card? I'm gonna see if I agree or disagree with you.
All right, man.
I usually I find Dino to be the bigger fight expert here, so I usually listen to him when I think about making bets. I don't even make bets, but I just like to think about making the bets.
I'm going to make these bets and some variation of all these folks. So I'm going to go right down the pipe, fights that I'm familiar with. So Gian Vellante against Barnett. Barnett comes from K1. He's got pretty good cardio. He lost his first fight in the UFC, but he's a high-level dude, in my opinion. Don't let the chubbiness fool you. He's a pot-bellied guy, but he's a real killer. Gian Vellante, he's a middleweight who fights at heavyweight. He's got terrible cardio. He hits pretty hard, but he gasses out after a few seconds. So I got Barnett. I got Phil Hawes. I got this Alex Pereira guy. He's the dude that knocked out Israel Adesanya in kickboxing. So I'm sure they're trying to build him up for a fight. So I assume he's going to win this fight. I also got Iaquinta against Bobby Green. He's supposed to lose tonight. He's the underdog, but I got to trust in him. He's a good real estate salesman.
I don't know about that, man. Bobby Green, man.
I know Bobby Green's he's looking good, but Bobby Green, for some reason, he just always
hovers at that level.
Yes, he always fights good enough to almost win. No matter who he's fighting, he fights to the competition good enough to almost win. So I don't know. He probably will prove me wrong. I got Marlon Vera against Frankie Edgar. I got Justin.
I agree with Vera versus Edgar.
Right?
Edgar, I mean, look, 5 years ago, I'm not, right? Frankie Edgar, you put that name. But nowadays, it's like, yeah, Edgar's on his way out, man. This is a good keep.
I got Shane Burgos against Billy Quarantillo, Rose Namajunas against Zhang, and Kamaru Usman against Colby. So that's
are you doing Gagey? You're not going to bet Gagey, probably.
I am probably going to put him on a parlay or two. Yeah,
you are. Gotcha.
I'm going to do like 4 or 5 parlays, all variations of that, and we'll see what happens.
Because that works out for you. You put like $20 here, $20 there. If one of them hits, you covered all of them in one sum.
If one hits, you cover it all plus some. If 2 hit, you're in the plus. If a couple of these things hit, you're talking, You're talking about $1,000 night off of like $50 worth of betting.
Got you. So you're probably not going to put the Gagey Chandler in any 3 or 4 fight parlays, but you might put it in your 5 fight parlays.
This is going to be what my spread is. Let's say if I'm betting like $100 tonight, it'll probably be like $80. One $10 parlay is going to be all these fights we just talked about. In the event that we hit, it's going to pay out huge off of like $10, you know? And then other ones are going to be anywhere from 3 to 5 fights. Justin Gaethje, I'm going to do one main event card with Justin Gaethje in it and one main event card without Justin Gaethje. And it's going to be spread out like $10 here, $15 here, boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
Something will hit.
That makes sense.
And if it doesn't, peace out, $80.
It's all right, because I wasn't going to pay for the pay-per-view anyway. So
Uncle Dana's listening.
I'm going to a bar. I go to bars to watch it.
Yeah, same.
I go to bars that pirate it for me.
Yeah, B-Dub.
I go to Buffalo Wild Wings.
This is a good little trial run, man. We gotta run this back.
Yeah, man. If anybody ends up actually watching this, be on the lookout.
Yeah, if not, we'll run it back. It's fun.
I'm gonna hit stop.